women lie, numbers don't. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
In order to bring in the new, you have to get rid of the old. And with that being said, I'm giving you another Drake video. But today, we're doing some deep breakdown because one of the most regurgitated, misinformed, word vomit sentences that you will hear in hip hop, especially in 2024, is that Drake has been running hip hop for 15 years.
It's his first time facing adversity in 15 years. For 15 years.
Because he's been moving the needle for what, 15, 14 years?
He maybe has the greatest run in hip hop history.
Why the f you lying? Why you always lying?
Now, this statement ticks me off because if you actually go do the research, it comes out to be that Drake never ran the game, not even for 10 years straight. There's this famous video that a content creator made and that basically said Jay-Z wasn't the best artist of any given year because there was always another artist in his way.
There is not a year where Jay-Z was indisputably the hottest or the best rapper in the game. Jay-Z came in the game in 1996. I think we can all agree that's Tupac's year. 1997, Biggie died. In 1998, which was kind of his breakout year, DMX had 2 #1 albums in that year. 1999, DMX again, who outsold Jay-Z by a big margin. Year 2000, Nelly and Eminem both went down.
And that can be true for Aubrey Graham. So in order for this statement of 15 years to be true, Drake, let's say it's ended in 2024, because that's what a lot of people was basically saying. He ran the game for 15 years. You can never have a run like that. So if that was to be true in 2024, he would have had to start running the game in 2009. So let's take a time machine and let's break this down. And the way we're going to do this, because, you know, I love my man Doc Brown. Doc Brown is very scientific. Before you get into his time machine, you better have your facts straight.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
So the way we're going to do this is first, we're going to put this into groups of 3s. We're going to do 2009, 2010, 2011. And the way we're going to break this down to get us to a more scientific conclusion and a more factual based evidence that this did or did not happen, we're going to use 3 metrics. We're going to use overall sales, we're going to use first week sales, and then we're going to use impact. Now, because I can't really get in a time machine with Dr. Brown and go back to every barbershop and ask every sweaty barbershop argumenters and commentators who had the best impact this year, we're going to use a metric that may piss some people off, but it's the best way I can get to a more scientific explanation of this 15-year run, and that is using the Grammys. Now, I know people don't like the Grammys, but they usually get it correct.
Everybody that voted for the Grammys were music people.
Yeah.
That's why the Grammys is so important. It is the only award show where it is about your peers.
So today we're going to get in this time machine and we're going to go use these 3 metrics by years of 3 to decide, did Aubrey Graham really run hip hop for 15 years?
I got enemies, got a lot of enemies, got a lot of people trying to drain me of my energy.
Let's take it back to 2009 because that's when Drake officially released one of his best contributions to hip hop, which is So Far Gone.
You know, a lot of girls be.
Technically, Drake dropped his first mixtape in 2006, Room for Improvement. Then he followed that up in 2007 with Comeback Season. Then in 2008, he re-released Room for Improvement as his buzz started to get bigger. And then 2009, he hit us with So Far Gone. Unfortunately for him, there was a guy that came back. There was a guy that was missing for a long time that came back and snatched the hearts, the sales, and the Grammys.
So crack a bottle, let your body waddle. Don't act like a snobby model.
Eminem in 2009, he had the highest first week sales within hip hop, with selling over 600,000 copies with the album Relapse. So in 2009, which technically will be pushed to 2010's Grammys, he won the Grammy, he had the most sales, and he had the biggest first week numbers. Unfortunately, in this first year, Drake's 15-year run gets dwindled down and broken down to 14 years.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Let's move to our next year, 2010. Now, technically, this is Drake's first official release with an album called Thank Me Later. Again, was overshadowed by an artist named Eminem.
I'ma be what I set out to be, without a doubt, undoubtedly. And all those who look down on me, I'm tearing down your balcony. I'm not afraid.
Thank Me Later, in the year that it was released, it was the third best-selling album within hip-hop. He actually lost to Kanye West first week sales, and he lost to Recovery first week sales. He won the Grammy, he had the highest first week numbers, and he had the most sales overall in hip-hop. So technically, he didn't get first week, he didn't get the Grammy, and overall sales, Eminem took it with over 3 million copies sold in 2010. So again, this Drake run has now been dwindled down to 13 years. So this 15 year has been debunked within the first 2 years.
Got him. We fucking got him.
In 2011, Drake released his biggest, best album. People will say it's his only classic. Some people will say it's one of his classics, and that is Take Care. Was a certain somebody who released late that year, and his name was Kanye West. Now, this could be the first year you can say Drake went on a run, but with Kanye releasing something as big as My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Watch the Throne, which were both nominated for a Grammy,
I invented sweat, popping bottles, putting supermodels.
I kind of like to think that that overshadowed Take Care. It was Kanye's biggest, best album. Now, if we're going in sales in 2011, Drake also, he didn't win the Grammy. Technically, the Grammy from 2011 went to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, so he didn't win Impact. And sales overall in 2011, Drake was number 2 to his mentor, Dwayne Carter.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
The Carter 4 had almost 1 million copies. Drake came in at number 2 with 630,000 copies, and Watch the Throne came in at number 3. So technically, he didn't win the Grammy. He didn't win first week sales. What about overall sales? Let's go to overall sales. 1.9 million copies overall, which was the Carter 4. So in no category, statistically, did Drake win. So this now 13-year run has been knocked down to 12 years. Let's go 2012. Drake technically won the Grammy from 2011 to 2012 because Take Care was a late release 2011. It actually went to 2012 Grammy. He released it November 15th, 2011. So that means it pushed itself into the next year Grammy category, which is why 2012 was Kanye's year. Kanye released a year, stagger. So technically Drake does win in 2012 for the Grammy. But when it comes to sales, because Drake didn't release anything in 2012, he was still living off of the hype of 2011 release. But technically, the most all-time selling artist in 2012 was Nicki Minaj.
I bees in the trap, bees in the trap.
Nicki Minaj in 2012 had the biggest first week. She had the most overall sales. It's just the fact that Take Care actually got the Grammy. So 2012 is technically Nicki's year. If you ask me, 2012 could be argued for Drake's year, but with Nicki outselling him number-wise on a late release 2011, I gotta give that to Nicki. I gotta give her the 2-1. That now 12-year run goes to an 11-year run. We're breaking it now into the next 3 years. We're gonna do 2012, 2013, 2014. So the first 3 years, Drake didn't win that. These next 3 years, Drake has maybe kind of got 2013, which will be difficult to give to him as well because there was a lot that happened in 2013. Now, in 2012, a certain somebody by the name of Kendrick Lamar released an album called Good Kid, Mad City. And that was the impact that was felt throughout the culture. Now, technically, we all know Good Kid, Mad City did not win the Grammy that year, but a certain somebody of the name Macklemore did. So technically, Macklemore gets the cultural point. And let's go and figure out sales. Nothing Was the Same was Aubrey's release. Some say that Take Care and Nothing Was the Same was Aubrey's best albums. Those are his 2 certified classics. But again, 2013 was dominated by the Marshall Mathers LP.
I'm beginning to feel like a rap god.
The first week numbers for Eminem was 7,900. He sold almost 800,000 copies. Drake came in at number 2 with Nothing Was the Same with 600,000 copies. Now, overall sales, Eminem Marshall Mathers LP sold 1.7 million copies overall, making him the best-selling rapper of 2013. So again, another fact, this now 15-year run has gone down to a 10-year run. Shall I continue? 2014. We're just going to go ahead and knock this down to a 9-year run because 2014 was dominated by J. Cole.
First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
J. Cole had the biggest selling album that year. He sold the most in hip hop. He sold 577,000 copies overall. That was good for J. Cole. And first week numbers, J. Cole had 375,000 copies with no feature. So if you want to keep it G, 2014 was dominated by J. Cole and Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj came out with the Pink Print album.
I'm beginning to feel like a rap guy.
Drake did not release an album that year. So we're already down to 9 years after 15 years. So 2015, 2016 is when Drake actually dominated the chart. But there's a certain somebody by the name of Kendrick Lamar that is putting points up on the board. We have To Pimp a Butterfly releasing in 2015.
We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
Drake released What a Time to Be Alive, and if you're reading this is too late, he dominated the charts. So he gets the 2 points for first week sales and overall sales.
Jumpin', them boys up to something.
Drake's first week sales in 2015 for you, if you're reading this is too late, was 535,000 copies. His overall sales, if you're reading this too late, was 1.1 million copies. And if you add in what he did with Future, it's probably more than that. But he didn't win the Grammy. He went 2 for 3. Everybody was talking about We Gonna Be Alright. One of the best songs to come out of hip hop in the last few years. But we're gonna give Drake 2015 because he won 2 out of the 3 categories. Let's move to 2016. 2016, Drake drops Views.
Oh, you not from the city, I could tell, dawg.
But once again, he did not win the Grammy. Views was actually pushed against Coloring Book. To Pimp a Butterfly won at the beginning of that year. And I haven't even mentioned Chance the Rapper because low-key Acid Rap and The Coloring Book was some of the best mixtapes to come out during that time. So you got to factor in those impacts as well. And Nicki Minaj, J. Cole, Kanye West, all these different people muddied the water. So again, we could say 9 years, right? We got 2 years in a row. So we stopped at 9 years. So 2015, 2016, Drake has a back-to-back 2-year run, beef with Meek Mills, everything going good for him. He gets exposed for having a ghostwriter. He's still on top. To Pimp a Butterfly comes out in 2015, wins the Grammy, and then in 2017, he gets outsold by a Kendrick Lamar with the album Damn.
I'd rather die than to listen to you. My DNA not for imitation.
So I ain't gonna lie, when I originally recorded this, I kind of got gassed out towards the 2018, 2024 section because trying to find the information kind of got a little muddy because streaming started to become the standard in 2018. And I know that to be a fact because 2017, I bought this album. This was the last release where physical actually mattered, and I think that was Damned. So 2018, they kind of figured out the formula, and you started to see, you know, the streaming era take over. And, you know, 2016, Kanye West had the first all-digital album go #1 with The Life of Pablo. But 2018, to me, if you ask me, they kind of figured it out. And this is where you see Drake's dominance commercially. Critically, this is his most panned work. Critically, 2018 to 2025 is Drake's most panned work. This is where people said the quality of Drake's album totally went into the can, which is crazy because this is when he started to dominate as far as streaming. So 2018 to 2020, Drake technically is the best selling overall artist due to streaming. 2018, he completely dominated with Scorpion.
This a rolling, not a stopwatch. Don't never stop.
2019, the biggest first week because Drake didn't release was Jesus King. The biggest overall selling album of that year specifically was Post Malone. Drake still was the most all-time selling overall artist because of streaming. Same thing with 2020. The biggest first week was Juice WRLD. The biggest overall album that released that year was Little Baby My Turn. But Drake overall sold the most because of streaming. That era gets weird, but this is when you can say Drake is on his run. Musically, 2020 Dark Lane demos tapes kind of pan. There's some good stuff on there, but really nothing to like scoff at. Same thing with Scorpion. Don't really like it. I can maybe take 2 or 3 songs off of the double disc project. He was going at it with Pusha T. He's going at it with Kanye. He was going out with XXXTentacion. A lot of other things were better in my opinion. And like I always say, I wasn't always checking for Drake. After 2015, I wasn't checking for him no more because he didn't write his music. He fooled me. Well, up into 2015, I was a big Drake fan. Once he got into it with Meek and I figured out that some of the best songs I like from Drake were written by other people, I wasn't checking for him. I was checking for other things. So when people say this run, you really have to break it down because in the first half of his year, he was not running the game commercially. But where we're at now, 2018, 2020, yes, commercially, he dominated. The 2018 Grammy goes to Invasion of Privacy. 2019 Grammy goes to Igor. The 2020 Grammy goes to King's Disease. So commercially, yeah, Drake is dominating. But as far as critically, It's his worst stuff. So let's go into the last few years, and we're just gonna wrap this up because I feel as though this video is already longer than it needs to be. I think I've proven my point. You can maybe give Drake a 4-year run. So 2021 to 2025, right? Let's talk about CLB. 2021 was dominated by CLB and Donda. CLB had the biggest first week. Donda, if you ask me, should have got the Grammy, but had the overall most sales for an album released that year. But Drake was obviously the most overall selling artist that year due to streaming his back catalog. So 2022, the first week sales went to Her Loss with 21 Savage and Drake. The most overall selling album that year was I Never Liked You. Again, Drake wins overall sales because of streaming, because of his back catalog. People are still streaming his back catalog. Is this due to bots? I don't know. He said bots and payola and all that stuff be the reason people get success. I think if you're looking at this is when he really started getting success, during domination of the streaming era.
How many faking they streams, getting they plays from machines?
But 2023, Utopia dominated. It was the best-selling album that year, and it had the best first weeks. Drake, again, still dominates 2023 because he was the most streamed artist. 2024, again, Drake dominates because of For All of the Dogs that he released in 2023. For All of the Dogs dominates 2024, one of the best streamed albums. But, of course, he got his behind whoop impact culture and Grammy-wise because Kendrick Lamar whooped that bunkie with Not Like Us, Euphoria, GNX, and all this stuff. When you really look at it, it becomes a little nuanced. And the reason why I played the Jay-Z Men Lie, Women Lie, Numbers Don't, and I talked about Jay-Z not having the commercial success that people think, is because if you look at Jay-Z's run, just like Drake's, early on, he didn't have the commercial success. People could say he maybe didn't been the best rapper consistently, but he didn't have the commercial viability. Other people were outselling him. Same thing with Drake. In the beginning half of his career, he was given his best critically acclaimed stuff, but other people were commercially outselling him. If you really break these conversations down, they become a lot more nuanced. Like I said, I wasn't checking for Drake after 2015. You may have a difference of opinion. Streaming wise, yeah, Drake dominates it, but critically, this is some of his worst stuff.
Oh, so many checks owed. I feel Czechoslovakia, nigga. What the?
Wow, bro. I hate to say this, I hate to admit this, but I'm embarrassed for you.
So when we talk about this run, you really have to listen to the people who's saying this and why they're saying it. Because if you really break it down, there was always other options. There was always somebody there gunning for the throne just as much as Drake, if not more.
It's important I deserve it all because it's mine. Why you think you deserve the greatest of all time?
I just broke it down as best as I could. I'm tired of talking about Drake. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sick and tired of it. It's known without a shot of a doubt, Drake did not have a 15-year run. At most, he had a 4 to 5 year run. At most. But there was always a Kendrick. There was always a J. Cole. There was always a 444. There was always a XXX. There was always a Call Me If You Get Lost. There was always an Ego, Invasion of Privacy, Damn, Coloring Book, To Pimp a Butterfly. There was always something better. And in order to have a run, if you ask me to have a run that's dominant, you gotta win everything. You gotta win commercially, Grammy, you gotta win all of it. Now, to be fair, Drake did win a lot of Billboard awards.
How many faking they streams, getting they plays from machines?
But I'm done talking about the boy. What say you? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share this video with a friend, donate to this Cash App right here. Anything is appreciated. I want to continue to give y'all this great content for the rest of my life, as long as you'll have me. And if you want to join to get this content first and get exclusive content, be a member. Link is in the description. I appreciate y'all, man. Let me know how y'all feeling about this. Did I just debunk the whole Drake had a 15-year run thing, or am I hating? Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comment section. Read my soul out. Peace.